And we are live on episode 70 of the Red Man Group. I'm your host and moderator, Donovan Sharpe. We are presented in part by the 21 Convention. July 18th through the 21st, 21 Convention is headed to Warsaw, Poland. Buy your tickets now to get massive discounts. You can also get tickets to October's event in Orlando and get huge discounts as well. So buy now, guys, because as we all know, the longer you wait, the less you save. Today's topic is going to be about why wives are better than girlfriends. Why do wives treat their boyfriends better than, why do girlfriends treat their boyfriends better than wives treat their husbands? But before we get to that, we're going to do a quick, go around, have everybody introduce themselves. First of all, I'm Donovan Sharpe. You guys know who I am. Go to donovansharpe.com, blah, 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 all that. Of course, we've got DDJ, Steve the Dean Williams, and of course, Anthony Dream Johnson is in the house. How are you guys doing this morning?
Doing fucking great.
Well, Anthony, let me start with you. It's been a while since you have been on the show. Tell the people what you've been working on, man, what you've done, what you've got coming up.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a whole lot going on. You hearing me, Donovan, coming in?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, cool. Yep. Yeah, so of course we wrapped up the Patriarch Convention. That was beginning of May. Did a whole show on that on the RMG Group Patriarchs edition. Since then, been full force, kind of following up with that event. We put out, for example, one of the Red Man Group podcasts, episode 3. You were the host of that. A couple others were obviously on the show, including myself. And put out the photos from that event, over 600 photos on Facebook. And I've been busting ass, getting prepared, of course, for the Poland Convention coming up soon, as well as later in the year, the October event. In addition to that, I just got back from New York State, and New York City on Thursday night. I went to Elliot Hulse's grounding camp. Me and my director had a really great time at that. That was Elliot Hulse personified in an entire tribe. Wow. It was kind of like 21Con, like the 21 Convention, except a lot more rugged and outdoors, and much more physical. It's called grounding camp, and had a lot of active dynamic meditation, wrestling, picking up huge stones and shit, all kinds of crazy shit. And it was up in upstate New York. It was up in the mountains, north of like Albany, like way up north, New York State. My first time being that part of America. It was beautiful, and it was great being around a lot of men from the Manosphere. A lot of guys there were not only fans of Elliot, but the fans of the Red Man Group and 21 Studios. And one of them had even been following the convention since 2010. I met some guys on Instagram that I've been following for a while, Red Pill Books, guys like that. So it's pretty cool. After that, I went to New York City for my first time for a couple of days and got to stay in Brooklyn with Goldman Unleashed. Nice. I got incredible tours in New York. I got to visit Trump Tower, Freedom Tower, Wall Street, all these crazy things. It was a good time. And we filmed some really epic footage too, an interview with Goldman, and actually in-field footage of Goldman for the first time. Super high quality shit, and it's coming out very soon. I also got kicked out of a coffee shop, kind of un-American shithole, as I call it, because of my Feature is Masculine shirt. And we got it all on camera. Store manager made a big scene out of it. And it was a lot of fun, standing up to this guy. He really didn't expect that. He thought he could just kick me and my director out and it wouldn't be a thing. And we made a thing out of it. And then we walked out, not causing any kind of violence or anything, of course. So yeah, it's been a shit ton of fun, real super busy. And I'm excited to go to Poland in about 4 weeks. The convention will be in about 5 weeks. So I'll be there about a week ahead of time. Yeah.
Coming up quick. Ooh. What you been up to? What are you doing? What you got going on next?
Basically, we had a great show last night on the Red Line with you, myself, and George.
Great show.
Killed it. Yeah, it was an awesome show. Other than that, we have I'm just doing this, and thanks to Anthony, I have an opportunity to be on the this channel right here every Monday talking about the red pill mindset, trying to show guys once you take the pill, that's just the beginning. It's more about cultivating yourself as a man. So that's what I'll be doing on Mondays. And then I just got my regular Tuesday show, and I too I'm preparing for Poland. I can't wait to go there and hang out with the guys and get out of the country and see what things are like. So that's all that's going with me, brother.
Good stuff. DDJ, you made your you've been on the Red Man Group before, but you made your debut as a regular last week. You were actually on the Red Line with Steve and I last Friday. How have you been, man? What have you been up to? What you got going on?
Well, I've been doing a lot of traveling, obviously, which is why I've kind of taken a 3-week hiatus off of my YouTube channel. I'm still working on my next book. And in addition to that, recently, I put out a petition to the White House because of all the censorship that's been going on with big tech to try to get our elected officials to basically create social media accounts on platforms that are more friendly to free speech. One of the things that I've noticed is that when it comes to this idea of free speech, like everybody's talking about how Facebook has been going after people even when they're, for activities that they're doing offline. But what people don't understand is that Facebook's not the only big tech organization that's doing it. Patreon is doing it. Twitch is doing it. Other organizations are doing it as well. I mean, this is a huge antitrust action. And as everybody knows, these tech billionaires, they're not going to stop. So how do we stop the bleeding immediately? And how do we get people to be able to communicate with their elected officials in a meaningful way if they're being banned by the millions off of these big tech social media platforms? Honestly, in my view, I think the easiest way to do that is to have our elected officials to start making social media accounts on alternate platforms, and that way they can communicate with their constituents in real time. So I put that petition out just the other day. I'll be making kind of some videos, but I won't be doing daily content anymore, even though I was doing that for a while, because I'm going to be more focused on my book. And obviously, now that I'm part of Redman Group, I'm pretty excited to kind of expand my horizons a little bit and, basically to continue to build those bridges, because I think that, as people see men working together from a variety of demographics and from a variety of mindsets, I think that's going to really help out our country a lot.
Yeah, that's I actually watched I think it was on Vimeo, but you may be aware of this. It's a documentary called You Can't Watch This. And it featured guys like Alex Jones, Paul Joseph Watson, some attention whore girl who thinks she matters. She basically does attention stuff, but she's on the right, so she feels like she's relevant. But it talks about exactly what you talked about the fact that YouTubers, people on Facebook and Twitter are being censored because because of the political views are not in line with feminism, with the democratic point of view, with the left, et cetera. So that's definitely an interesting topic to discuss. Myself, on the other hand, I'm on the air every day. I work 7 days a week now, so I don't have to work 7 days a week later. My ultimate goal is to be able to work 7 days a month at some point. So I got to put in the work now, so I don't have to put in so much work later. I've got some things coming down the pike, but of course, that remains to be seen. I'll keep that under my hat for the time being. So let's go ahead and get right into today's topic.
Donovan, sorry, real quick to hop in here. I forgot to mention that on 21 Studios YouTube channel, we're making this whole weekend a huge deal for Father's Day. So we have new speeches coming out, full speeches today and tomorrow, especially tomorrow for the Father's Day. So that'll be a big deal, and it's all free and all that stuff.
Yeah, we have a comment in the chat who asked, how is there already 36 thumbs down? It doesn't matter. We don't care. As far as the YouTube algorithm is concerned, a thumbs down is as good as a thumbs up, because that is an engagement. So listen, if you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you hate us, give us a thumbs down. If you really hate us, go onto the channel, leave all sorts of scathing remarks. We don't care. You're literally helping us, putting money in our pocket. Listen, man, I'll take a few stones and arrows to get the word out a little bit more. So by all means, keep the thumbs down. And that's just how that goes. So today, guys, we're talking about why girlfriends are better than wives, and and I actually talked about this on my show earlier this week. And the reason I chose this topic today is because I wanted to get other people's opinions on this. The reason why girlfriends are better than wives, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it like this. And DDJ, I'm going to come to you first because you've been married before. Okay, guys, wives are they're no longer motivated to fuck their husbands. Okay, that's what this comes down to. Once they get the ring, they think it's all over, and that, of course, is the fault of men and feminism. Most men don't require their wives to keep up the behavior that earned that ring in the first place, if she even earned it in the first place. My own ex-wife, she did this as soon as we got to Florida. We had this fairy tale wedding. We eloped. I took her to Florida, paradise-like state. and all I got in return was a collective fuck you and starfish sex. So on the other hand, girlfriends, they give you sex on the regular because they're not legally bound to you in the way of marriage. Girlfriends are far more motivated to fuck because they don't have that ironclad commitment that seems to give women permission to close their legs. So DDJ, what is your opinion on girlfriends versus wives? Why do you think wives all of a sudden just give up as soon as they walk down that aisle?
Well, I think that one of the main reasons that a lot of wives will give up when it comes to this idea of, cutting off the sex and everything else. I mean, obviously life happens while we're making other plans, right? So, there's a lot of non-relationship related issues that come up because, there's the stress of living together, there's the children, there's a lot of different things that are happening in everybody's lives. But I think that one of the main reasons that wives basically give up is because they don't have to prove it anymore. They think they've arrived. They think that, okay, now I'm the wife, you have to treat me a certain way. And the reality is since second wave feminism took over Western culture, wives know they have all the power. I mean, you look at this, you see it in social media, you see it in, our mainstream media, you see it everywhere where husbands are shamed, husbands are ridiculed. I just read a study today that basically shows that when it comes to the workforce, that women have it far better in the workforce at all levels except for management and leadership than men do. So when it comes to entry level and mid-level workforce types of situations, men are discriminated against. There was a study that came out that showed that men are discriminated against. And part of this is, again, these wives have all the power. Now, let's contrast that with girlfriends. Now, when it comes to girlfriends, one of the advantages of a girlfriend over a wife is that a woman's hypergamy is going to cause her to want to earn it. She's going to want to be up in your face if she's got cluster B disorders, if she's got borderline personality, or she's bipolar. She's probably going to be hypersexual anyway. And so she's going to love bomb you. And as unhealthy as it is, I know we kind of talked about that to begin with. Let me tell you something. Being on the receiving end of a love bomb is not a bad thing. as long as you recognize it for what it is, and that when the ride ends, you get off the ride. Being on the receiving end of a love bomb isn't a bad thing, but again, it's super dangerous for the reasons I mentioned in our last episode. But the other side of it is that she realizes she doesn't have you locked down, right? So she's not, she doesn't have you locked down with a kid yet. She doesn't have you locked down in a marriage, or it can't divorce rape you in the same ways yet. It's a lot harder for her to do. And so a lot of these things, it's one of those scenarios where these women know that they've got to earn it. So they're on their best behavior. That's why I tell people, I'm like, look, hypergamy is not always bad, because a lot of times these women will use hypergamy, and when they're invested in you, they treat you like a king. When they're not invested in you, they don't. So that's, for me, it's like, yeah. And you got to understand too, that every girlfriend has an expiration date. So there is that.
Steve. Or I'm sorry, not Steve, Anthony, then Steve. Anthony, why are girlfriends better than wives?
So I have kind of a counterpoint I was thinking about when DDJ was talking. I think there's something going on that we haven't obviously discussed yet since it started the show, but I think there's also a selection bias in what we're talking about. So the guys who are getting legally married with no prenup, they're getting roped in all this stupid bullshit. These guys are the most blue pill and or the most beta. And that's one of the reasons why we see this dynamic come up, that girlfriend relationships are healthier and more functional, more natural, and more based, so to speak, than being in a legal marriage and stuff like that. Like, look at a guy like Texas Dom, someone who's been on the Red Man Group a couple times, one of our speakers, one of our friends. He has a healthy marriage. He actually married a single mom, which is not typical to work out like he has.
Cool, right?
But what's his relationship like? He has a paddle. It's a dom sub relationship. He paddles her on the ass. She's real happy about it. I think it's a good example of a healthy marriage that worked out really well for him. So that's just like my main comment there, is that there's a selection bias for it, especially today. The legal system, like in my case, I, through the men's rights community and the pickup community, even at a young age, I was able to figure out that legal marriage, getting the government involved, is a super fucking bad idea, no matter which way you cut it. So I didn't do that in my case history with this. But yeah, it's a selection bias. The guys who do this today in this kind of environment, it's either out of like brutal ignorance or just stupidity. Just absolute fucking stupid to get married like this. And as a result, you see these super unhealthy relationships where, of course, it just runs off the rails like immediately.
Right.
You know, starfish sex, you know, the bitchy behavior comes out. It's basically a fucking con job, and they know it half the time. Whereas guys who were refusing to do that, like you, Donovan, you have a much healthier relationship. You were constantly spanking your girl in the ass, posting pictures of her. She does whatever you want, and she's happy to do that. She loves that relationship she's in with you. And part of the reason for that is you're not stupid enough to get legally married. And if you were to do it, you'd probably do it in a much more intelligent way, or you do a private marriage or a super type prenup or something like that.
Right.
Not that that shit's perfect. That is not, you know, even that is very dangerous. Even what I did with a private marriage, DDJ pointed out, there's still, you know, we had him on the show back in the day. There's a whole bunch of, you know, other mechanisms that women can use, legal mechanisms to fuck you over, whether it's false domestic violence accusations, false rape allegations, all kinds of cohabitation stuff, palimony, all kinds of weird shit. So that's my main comment with it. But other than that, I do agree with the general idea that today, a girlfriend relationship, you know, non-legal marriage is going to be a lot healthier than a legal marriage one. You're fucking yourself in the ass with it. You're giving her all the power and all the authority that she doesn't want. And then, of course, the shit turns bitter and sour immediately. No kidding.
Steve, now you've been married for over 20 years, and obviously you have a very good relationship with your wife. So you're probably going to come at this from a different point of view.
Oh, you already know it.
Right. So in your opinion, which one do you feel is better as far as in Steve the Dean Williams land? Who's better, girlfriends or wives?
Neither. I'm better. That's
okay. I like it.
See, at the end of the day, I'm all about accountability and responsibility. The women are going to be women at the end of the day, okay? And unfortunately, for a lot of guys out there, they usually look at the end result or the last domino. The wife is with hope. You know, we have everything is going great, so in the dating part. But once we get married, all of a sudden she starts taking away things, and we stop having sex and all the other stuff. But what people don't ever do, and I always talk about being honest with yourself, is looking at the beginning of the first domino when you allowed her to be disrespectful to you, when you allowed her to stop withholding the sex, when you allowed her to start doing all this stuff. And what you did was you trained her on how to treat you. But then you can't go off later on complaining about her when it was you that trained her how to be towards you. See, the thing is, I always tell guys, don't invest in women. Don't invest in women. Invest in yourself. Know what you want. And as far as and again, as far as the women having the power, I'm just gonna go on the other side of the spectrum here. I don't believe women have the power. I've got the goddamn power. She's gonna get only the power I give to her. She has no power over me, my domain, my name, or my sperm. And as long as you have that type of mindset, you're not going to have these issues, whether it's a girlfriend or it's a wife, because at any time, and I talked about this at the 21 convention, at any time she can be fired, mess up. Now, I'm not just saying the first mess up, you're gone, just like a job. The first mess up, you get a warning. Second mess up, I'm done. There are too many women out there for me to sit around and have to put up with bad behavior. That's where I'm coming from with that, brother.
Good stuff, man. Wow. All different. This is exactly why I wanted to get different perspectives, because in my experience, and here's the thing, I've had a lot more girlfriends than I've had wives. And, you know, when you find the red pill, what ends up happening is that you figure out, okay, when a woman's no longer motivated to keep you around, this is when she acts poorly. So DDJ, I'm going to come back to you with this. So we know that, we know that for the most part, girlfriends treat their boyfriends better than wives treat their husbands. Other than the leverage thing, what gives wives the idea that they don't have to try anymore? Why do wives just put it on cruise control once you put a ring on it? And
well, I get where you're going with this.
Job and one good lawyer to take half your shit. What are your thoughts?
All right. So can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So first and foremost, I also want to dovetail on something Anthony said before I answer that. You know, one of the other reasons that guys still get married today is because society pressures them into doing so. We have all these organizations out there that are basically telling men that they should be marrying single moms and that they should be proud to get, to marry the woman and give her a participation trophy, even though she doesn't earn it. Now, I will say this, my marriage wasn't that bad. I mean, I got most of what I needed until I got injured. Once I actually suffered an injury, all of a sudden that was a problem. And again, it was because she didn't perceive me the same way.
Right.
So I think that when it comes to this idea about these women on cruise control, it's a question of options for them. Because if they start getting, and I said this in the last Red Man group that I was in as well, and I think it bears repeating, and that is that anytime you're in a relationship, there are 3 men who want to have sex with your woman, and there are 3 women who want to have sex with you. Now, they may not be people that you're interested in, but that's my 3 for 3 rule, and that's truly there. Now, the other side of it is that when you tell women that you require investment, that's when women start to act right, because then they understand that, oh yeah, that investment is there. So like, one of the reasons my second marriage lasted so long is because I told my ex-wife early on, I said, look, I only love you as long as you make me happy. And then the second that you make me happy, I'm not going to love you anymore. And she's like, well, that's rude and that's disrespectful. I'm like, I don't give a shit what you think. The point is, it's true. If you invest, I'm going to be happy with the investment. If you don't invest, I'm going to be unhappy with it. That's the reality. There's none of this whole unconditional love and, men have to sacrifice themselves and genuflect at the altar of the vagina. That's all bullshit. So, a lot of these women, what happens is that they, and this happened with my ex-wife, again, to kind of dovetail or to answer your question more directly. My ex-wife, when I met her, was a complete tradcon. Oh, she was part of the Young Republicans Party. She was doing the whole thing. And then at the end of the day, at the end of the marriage, she was a card-carrying feminist. So part of the issue is and part of the reason that these women do this is because, number one, they don't think they have to work as hard. Number two, they're getting indoctrinated by all the media that they consume that tells them that they can do whatever they want to and that there's no consequences for their conduct. So they just start treating their husbands like shit. And then they're being told time and time again that every disagreement they have with their husband is abuse. So if a guy says, hey, honey, why did you spend the rent money on your hair or something? All of a sudden, oh, that's abusive. Now you're financially trying to control me. And we see this in Western countries. We see this in Canada. We see it in Australia. We see it in the United Kingdom. There are what they call them coercive control domestic violence protection laws, where they're trying to codify this in law so that anytime a man tries to hold a woman accountable for bad behavior, it's a problem. Now, I think Anthony made a comment about how, Texas Dom, he paddles his wife's ass when she steps out of line and she likes it. Well, the problem that you have in Western culture, especially with marriage today, and modern marriage especially,
just a correction. I think he paddles his wife's ass all the time. Like,
okay, fair enough.
Good and bad behavior.
Oh no. And if you're down for it, then great. There it is. All I'm saying is that when men don't have the ability to hold their wives accountable, and I'm not saying that women should be slaves and men should be slave masters or anything like that, unless you're into that. All I'm saying is that when women have all these tools to hold men accountable, men don't have tools to hold women accountable. So these women realize that they're just not gonna do anything. So this idea that these wives can just kind of run on autopilot, that's the problem. So they run on autopilot and then they don't realize, they don't really care about what the man needs. That's why I tell guys, I said, look, the relationship is not over when you and your ex-wife split up. The relationship is over the second that she quits investing. Mm-hmm. Once she quits investing in the relationship, your relationship is over. Now, this isn't just true for wives. This is also true for girlfriends. Once you see that investment go away, once you see that fire kind of dim or whatever, your relationship is over. You need to start making a move for the exit.
Well said. Anthony, you said you had a comment right after DDJ here.
Yeah, I got a few. I 100% co-sign what DDJ just said, especially at the end. When that fire's gone, that shit's over, or it's on his deathbed. And a lot of guys I don't even think they understand what the hell DDJ is talking about. But once you get it, and you'll never forget it. That's part of taking the red pill, I think. So my comments were this. When I did my private marriage thing with Medusa, so I legally avoided common law and, of course, like certified legal marriage. But I had a ceremony, we traded rings, vows, took my last name, honeymoon, all the mechanisms of marriage minus the government as best I could at the time. it actually had the unintentional benefit, and I didn't understand this at the time exactly, not in red pill terms anyway. Like I knew what it was, but I couldn't put my thumb on it. So it actually, the private marriage thing kind of bridged the gap between girlfriend and wife, exactly like we're talking about, because it kept a performance mechanism on my ex-wife, the Medusa from the speech and all that. And she actually, and to the point that she actually was aware of this explicitly and wrote about it. I wrote a blog post and I let her write like a little piece for it, like at the end. And you could see, and I actually can share it with you guys in the chat after we're done, and you'll see what she wrote. It was kind of interesting looking back on it. And she basically said that Anthony can end this relationship and leave whenever he wants the second I don't perform, was the gist of it. And I think that's why private marriage in part was actually a really good thing. Now, this is a super fucked up relationship independent of the private marriage, legal marriage mechanisms I was going through. The bitch is BPD, cluster B, crazy as shit.
We get the fuck up out of there, though.
Yeah. Or what?
You were still able to get the hell up out of there, though.
Yeah. But so here's what I'm getting at is the whole time, everyone thinks that whole relationship was a nightmare, and covertly, the truth of it, it was a fucking shit show in the end. But I also had it was a very complex scenario that lasted 4.5 years. Like overtly, I had a great fucking time because the performance burden was on her to maintain to perform, to be there, to fuck every day. And actually, 6 months into her private marriage, I actually talk about it in the speech, she tried shutting the sex off. She's like, hey, I don't want to fuck every single day anymore. And I was like, hey, cool. Like, I love you, but this relationship's going to end immediately if that's the case. Like, literally, I'm gone tomorrow night. And she had to, through this huge hitsy fit and all this bullshit. At the end of the day, we kept fucking every day. And this shit was pretty dope. I mean, this chick was a working class girl, first class, 100%. And also on top of that, too, it wasn't just the sex, but the performance burden of not getting a legal marriage, not having me by the balls, divorce rape kind of shit, and no child, nothing like that to string me along with and fuck with me. This chick was super tradcon, and I think the private marriage / pseudo girlfriend wife, she was like a girlfriend wife hybrid, is kind of what private marriage did.
Okay.
And she was actually super tradcon. It was all fake, but she really fucking played it up. I had a great time. And and what I'm getting at here is, independent of her fucking mental disorders, that's, I think, what private marriage can do, especially if it was to be done better. Cohabitation agreements, more research with an attorney on palimony laws, all this different stuff that DDJ would know a lot more about. But it really kept the performance burden on her. And to the point that she was fucking and sucking every single day like a porn star, cooking dinner for 3 hours, doing all this crazy shit, cleaning, whatever, right? So anyway, what I'm getting at is the private marriage thing it helped bridge the gap in a way that most guys can't do today unless they're super on the ball with their attitude, which is even better, I'd say. But there's other mechanisms for dealing with this too, and private marriage is one of them.
Excellent. Steve, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm gonna definitely piggyback off of Anthony, because Anthony, it seemed like he takes my thunder all the time. So I'm gonna piggyback off of Anthony. See, a lot of, and the way I'm taking what Anthony's saying, and he's 1,000% right. And a lot of guys out there, again, a lot of you don't know what you even want from women, what you even expect from women. Some of you can't even convey to women what it is you want or what you expect them to do. And then how many of you guys who have girlfriends who are becoming fiancés or living with you, do they know the repercussions of their actions if they don't follow suit to what you know? A lot of people, the majority of guys out there don't do that. But then when she gets out of order, they want to point the finger at her.
Yep.
This is all I'm trying to get you guys to see. With what DDJ was saying, like, men don't have tools on it. I'm gonna take this to the other side of the spectrum. You have the tools. You just don't know someone who can show you where to find those tools. Because as a man, I am the tool. You don't have to look for tools when you are the tool, when you are the end result. And that's what a lot of you guys don't see. Y'all are so busy wanting to point the finger at everything, but you don't take a moment, look in the mirror and say, wait a second. When I had my wife or my girlfriend, did I tell her, like Anthony said, look, you're going to have to fuck me every day? How many of you guys tell your women that? You don't even think about that thing, because most of you are so satisfied you got a piece of pussy in your household, you don't even want to fuck that up. So you walk on eggshells in your relationship. Then she smells weakness. And as soon as she smells weakness or sugar in the water, you have just lost respect. And I keep telling you guys, fuck that love shit. I want respect. You ain't gonna get my goddamn love. You're gonna respect me as a goddamn man first. And if you can't respect me, I will trade your ass in, because if you have this attitude, I know a million bitches like you every goddamn day, but you'll never find a motherfucker like me. And if you have that kind of attitude, you know what you want, you let them know what you want, and you tell them the repercussions of their behaviors, you're not going to have these issues, gentlemen. Donovan?
Yeah, big thanks, and that actually ties into what I was going to say. Big thanks to Marcus with the $5 super chat. Also, Mick Inks with the $10 super chat. Marcus asks, gents, how do you build a woman? Donovan has mentioned this before. Is there a system, like a list of rules to follow in woman building? Every woman has to be handled differently. But I'll put it to you like this. I compare women to cars and computers, okay? Everybody knows how to operate a computer. Everybody knows how to operate a car. I could go outside of my house right now and jump in a car that I've never driven before and drive it perfectly. Somebody could put a Mac in front of me right now, and I know everything there is to know. I can operate it more. I can operate it as efficiently as I can. Well, it's the same as women. All of the hardware is different. Women come in different colors, shapes, sizes, nationalities, but the software is the same. You already know how women work, irregardless of what the hardware says. All of that said, there are different systems, but the system all has to be predicated on one thing. Don't be afraid to be masculine. You have to establish from the start, Marcus, that you will not invest in her until she invests in you. The minute she shows me that she has skin in the game, I'll put a little bit of skin in the game. Now, there's a lot more to this, and I don't want to get off on a tangent here, but the number one mistake that guys make when they are in relationships with women is that they are the first to suggest a relationship. Here's what happens. You're dating a girl, you guys are fucking having a great time. All of a sudden, you want to say to yourself, you know what? Michelle is really good to me. She's hot. She gives me sex, et cetera, et cetera. I want to make this thing a relationship. Michelle, hey, listen, let's take this thing to the next level. Michelle's going to jump on that. You want to know why Michelle jumps on that? Number one, she probably likes you. But number two, and I want you to listen very carefully, when you ask a woman to be in a relationship with you, you have told her that she has done everything necessary to gain your commitment, right? So as soon as you ask a woman to be in a relationship, all of your leverage to correct bad behavior, that goes out the door, right? When you tell a woman, when you ask a woman to be in a relationship, you are telling her that you have fulfilled all the requirements to get my commitment. This is why wives put it on cruise control, guys. Well, he asked me to marry him. What more do I have to do, right? This is why you always wait and make her ask you for the relationship first. Because if she asks you for the relationship first, your answer is going to be like, well, I don't know where this is going to go, but if you really want a relationship with me, this is how it's going to have to be. Okay, well, if I do those things, then can we have a relationship? Let's not go to point Z. Let's get to A to B. Let's see if you can meet these requirements, and then we'll move on to point C. The minute you ask a woman, the minute you float the idea of a long-term relationship with a woman first, your leverage goes right out the window. Because if you ask a girl, hey, you want to be my girlfriend? Yeah, sure. Okay, well, no social media, no girls' nights out, and I got to look at your phone every day. She's going to be like, well, wait a minute. What the fuck? You asked me to be your girlfriend, right? So why do I have to continue to do things if you ask me to be your girlfriend? Like you've just told me that I've met all the requirements. This is why you always have to wait. And guys, if she doesn't make a play to be exclusive with you first, guess what? Maybe she doesn't like you as much as you think she does. So Marcus, the quick answer to your question, and by the way, I'm actually releasing my How to Build a Red Pill Woman series. I did a podcast series. I'm actually going to be releasing the audio version on my website, donovansharpe.com, this Thursday. It is 8 hours of solid content that takes you from point A to point B. How to vet women, how to train women, how to fuck women, what to do when they get out of pocket, punishments, rewards, red flags, what to look for, what not to look for. Everything, anything and everything you need to know about how to build a woman from the ground up. You're going to find out about that on donovansharpe.com, and that's my system. Go ahead. Go ahead, Steve. You said you had a comment on this.
No, I think Anthony had a comment real quick, and I'll go after Anthony.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So I wanted to mention that when all my shit went down with Medusa's shit back in the day, the pseudo, marriage turned into pseudo divorce, separation. Right, I moved back to Orlando. The urge to put out a speech on, there's a couple of reasons. I gave a speech on it, of course, marrying Medusa, that went out. It's got like 400,000 views, all that. I've got a lot of comments on that speech, more so than any other video I've ever put out in my life. And there were a couple of reasons I gave it, and I talked about that in the speech. One of them was like exploring the ideas in itself from my own understanding. One of them also was like my own red pill awakening. You can see me throughout the talk kind of grasping and wrestling with these ideas, to the point that when I was done with it, I was immediately approached by a guy who introduced me to the red pill about 2 weeks later. And he told me he was going to do that, and he did, and it's changed my life forever. Another urge, though, was to hold. So that was, in a way, that was holding myself accountable. I made mistakes in my understanding of women. I realized basically that in simplistic terms, I understood pickup. I did not understand women. And that speech was me coming to terms with that. And then all the years and months and, since then. But also there was an urge to hold her accountable for some really shitty behavior. And she did not like that. She has been adamant about getting that video taken down ever since it came out. And she has failed completely. I've talked with attorneys, all this stuff. Anyway, I think it was a really good thing that women are held accountable for the behaviors, both in a relationship, like I did in mine to the extent I could with the knowledge I had and my boundaries, and like Steve's talking about, but also in public, women need to be held accountable for these things. And that speech was doing that, I think, for an entire generation of women, millennial women who see that talk and get terrified from it. I actually have gotten laid from the talk, interestingly enough. Women see it and they just want to fuck me sometimes, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I think women need to be held accountable for the behavior. And that's kind of what that talk did in a really huge way.
Anthony here, because we've got someone in the chat who thinks they know more than me, or who thinks they know more than us. He asks, I don't understand why a man needs to be a controlling freak to gain the investment from a woman. That doesn't make any sense to me. My response was, you give a woman choices, not all she can either fall in or not. He says that's exactly what it comes down to, telling a woman what she can and can't do. Insecurity. No, I do not tell. Listen, I did not tell Devin what she can and can't do. I said, if you want to be in a relationship with me, this is what's required. This is what you tell women. Hey, listen, if you want to be in a relationship with me, this is what's required. Nope. What's that? You don't want to do that? Okay. I'm not going to put a gun to your head. This just means that we're just going to continue to fuck without a relationship.
Well, women are children and they need rules. And if they don't get these rules, they don't know what to do and they'll go do screwy bullshit. Well, that can vary per woman, but
you don't have to threaten or control women. You simply give women. This is the thing. A lot of people women characterize ultimatums. They call something an ultimatum when they don't like their choices. Oh my God, you're giving me an ultimatum. No, I'm giving you a choice. You can either get off social media or you can be single. You're forcing me to do. I'm not forcing you to do anything, sweetie. If you want to stay on social media, that's fine. This just means that you and I are not going to be exclusive. Oh my God, you're a control freak. Once again, I'm not controlling your behavior. I'm giving you a choice. That's
another thing too, I'd say, Don, is that women want those. They want
boundaries.
They want boundaries, but if you're doing a good job, they want you to lay down the law like that. That turns them on both physically and like emotionally too. They really love that. And if you don't provide that, you're failing as a man to provide her that real life fantasy, or that fantasy coming to life. That's what they want. Whether it's being, getting their face in the mattress, getting choked out in bed and screaming, "Daddy, I love you," and "Bitch, who's your fucking master?"
Damn right.
Or it's just not being on social media. They love that element of like, it's not control. They can do whatever they want. They can leave. Like I said in my example, that my ex-wife, didn't want to have sex 7 days a week anymore. I'm like, hey, I told her, I was like, yeah, that's fine, but I'm going to leave immediately. So these are the conditions. We're going to fuck every day, or this is done. You can fucking go ahead and leave. Like, I'm going to go find other bitches. Of course, that, we stuck together for 2 years after that or something like that. But, women love, even a fucked up chick like that loves that element of it, but also healthy women, right?
Yes.
Women who are not fucking insane still love this kind of dominance. That's why they line up by the millions to go see 50 Shades of Grey and all this shit. They love being controlled, but not controlled. They want to fall into the control. They want the they're the ones pushing to be controlled. Like,
well, not only that, they want to see that you're man enough to set the parameters, right?
Yeah.
They like a man who is in control without having to control.
Exactly. Well fucking put. Yep. I'm done. That's my piece.
Sorry, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, Anthony. Go ahead.
That's it. It's Steve. You got something?
Yeah,
No. I'm gonna pick it up with the both of you guys said. See, the whoever asked that question, he's never been on the side of a street with a man who has this thing called options. Okay. You see, when you have options and she knows you have options, you're the prize, not her. that means she's going to do everything she can to fit into your world, by meaning she's going to follow your rules. And going off of what Donovan said, this is not you got to do it my way or the highway. You don't have to do it my way. I don't need you as much as you need me.
Right.
This is just how it is. Listen, I always tell I'm a drama-free guy. I'm a big ass kid, play video games, watch wrestling, and I'll even watch SpongeBob sometimes. Don't judge me, but that's true. But guess what? I like to have fun, but don't take my kindness for weakness. Don't think I'm a sucker. Don't think I'm someone you can walk over, because I will get rid of you. But I don't have to say that much, because she notices all other women that are interested in me. She notices women that try to get at me, and they all do. And when they realize you have options, that's when they will shut the fuck up, and that's when they'll start following your narrative. You listen, this is how I see things. You don't have to see them my way, but I tell you, if you want to be with me, keyword me,
right,
then you're gonna follow them. If not, hey, look. I can see you at 11:30 after you went on that date. I can put my dick on your forehead and I'll go about my merry way. I'm good. You can just do that if you want to.
I love that.
Yeah, we don't have to be a couple. But at the end of the day, and I just want to get to Marcus's question real quick. Don't look at how to build a woman, because that's where you're going wrong. Learn at how to build you. Once you build you, you know your mission statement, your legacy statement, your values, your laws, rules, codes, and narratives. A woman is going to fit into your world when she realizes you have the value. That's what I want to say.
I want to comment quick too that women, I think people in general can be very self-destructive. Women in particular are prone to self-destruction, self-destructive behaviors, actions, thoughts, and emotions, right? So if you don't provide these positive boundaries and things that, demands that you have conditions for being in your life, they're going to fall apart at the seams. This is, one of the reasons, wives and stuff get fat, they get sloppy, they stop taking care of themselves, all this bullshit. It's not a coincidence that these negative characteristics build up and accumulate when they're with weak men who don't, girlfriend or wife, whatever the relationship is, they fall apart. So women need this shit, and they, on a hindbrain level, they know that. And if you don't provide that, they're not going to fucking provide it, and the shit's going to fall apart in one form or another.
Not only that, Anthony, they have to test you, right? There are a lot of men out here who look like alpha males, but they're really soft as baby shit.
Well, they're called purple pill power bottoms.
Oh my God, Jesus. Yeah. PDJ, on this. What are your thoughts on boundaries and expectations? Because again, a lot of people watch and say, well, you're being controlling, that's insecure. No, that's not what this is.
Well, what that is that's a failure to take responsibility. And this is something too, like when my marriage broke up, the reason my marriage broke up is because I had a major injury. And so she saw me as weak. She was not as invested as I needed her to be at the time. And the marriage broke apart. And once I saw it break apart, I was like, okay, well, there you go. I'm done. I'm going to move on with my day. So I think that at the end of the day, it was like you have to set these boundaries, and you have to say, look, this is where you have to be. If you're not going to live within these boundaries, then there you go. So at the end of the day, these guys are like, oh, well, you're being controlling, you're being this, you're being that. The reality is that's not the case at all. What you're doing is you're forcing the woman to be accountable for her actions, and you're providing her the consequences for those actions. It's structure. Structure. Yeah, absolutely, it's structure. And so when we have this conversation, when we're having this idea where these women, what they're doing is they're reframing.
Yep.
It's an unethical reframe, because what they're saying is I can't be responsible for my conduct, so therefore I want you to be responsible for my conduct, and I want you to eat the consequences for what I do.
Yep.
And that's never an option as a man. The second that a man starts trying to mitigate consequences for a woman, that woman will lose respect for him. That woman, and it'll be irrevocable. There's no getting it back once it's done. That's the thing that people don't understand. That's why I tell people, I'm like, look, when somebody crosses me, I don't spend time forgiving them. I don't spend time trying to reconcile that relationship. That relationship's over. I'm moving on with my day. The reason I'm doing that is because when you reconcile, or you attempt to reconcile with a woman when she does something extremely wrong, what ends up happening is that, number one, she has to come to you. You can't go to her. And she has to actually demonstrate changed behavior. And then if it happens again, she's gone. Again, it's that whole thing, like Steve said, if you want to do certain things, then you can't be with me. You can't be part of this relationship. But if you want to change your behavior and you want to conform to what it is I need to have that relationship, well, then then we can do what we need to do. If not, well, guess what? You're Tuesday, or you're the 12:30 a.m. booty call, or you are what you are, and that's fine. But these women, they don't like those consequences, and they don't like that idea of, oh, I have to have consequences. So the women that are, and it's funny too, because the women who say these men are controlling, that's even a shit test, because they still have this whole thing where they're like, yeah, I want to be controlled, I want to have the structure. And again, it's not about control or lack of control as much as it's about men provide structure that women want and women need. In fact, you can tell when a woman doesn't have structure because she's fucking mentally unstable.
Yeah. Hey, I would say the reframe part, I think, was really important for the guys listening. When a woman throws out any kind of accusation like that, for 99% of the time, you're controlling, you're bossy, you're this, you're that. A lot of times this is A, projection. B, it's a deep fantasy they have. Yep. C, they're flipping the frame on you. It's a fucking power grab, and they're trying to blame all the shit on you, right? And dump all the consequences on you. So it's bullshit. You got to see through that. And if you have red pill lens, you will. On top of that, you should understand it for what it is, as possibly projection. It's what she's trying to do in terms of a reframe. B, it's also what she wants. That's why she's using that specific reframe. And I think it's what she wants deep down. Women like that who say that shit typically want to be, they're the ones who want the belt. They're the ones who want to be tied up. They're the ones who want to get really fucking savagely fucked. They want to be put in their place. And so there is some potential salvageability to that. That's a word. But only if you got the skills for it, if you got the frame and you got the man mindset, if you know what I'm saying. Nah, me, son.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Listen, talking that yak. We're going to open up the phone lines here within the next 10 minutes or so. The phone number, I'm going to put the phone number in here in just a second. I'm going to mute myself to get that all set up. But while I'm getting that set up, let me put a question to the panel, because Rollo has something he calls awakened while married. A lot of guys who tune into this channel, who tune into the Red Man group, they say, okay, I found the red pill. My wife is constantly out of pocket. I found the red pill. What can I do to rescue my marriage? What is there anything I can do? Listen, I'm a cynical fuck. For me, once a marriage is fucked, it's fucked. But then again, I'm not married, right? I don't have that investment. It's easy for a guy like me to say, oh, you fucking leave her and divorce her, because I'm emotionally divorced from that. So DDJ,
let me jump in here.
That they could possibly use to rescue their marriage, or do they just have to go with the flow here?
Well, let me say this. Sometimes decisions are made in the marriage that you can't walk back, right? Like infidelity, blatant dishonesty, financial abuse, major emotional abuse. I'm not talking about mean words or anything like that. I'm talking about, where it rises to the level of abuse. There are things where that your woman is operating in bad faith. When she's operating in bad faith, and I mean like malicious bad faith, your relationship is done. Pull the fucking ripcord and jump. Okay? Let your parachute fucking carry you home. However, I will say this. If you're not there yet, and you're in a situation where you've just discovered the red pill and you are trying to salvage your marriage and relationship. And I only say this because I've had extensive conversations with the editor of my book, and we kind of talked about this extensively. He's been married for a long time. I think what you have to do is you have to follow red pill wisdom. The man has to take control. The man has to lead. The man has to, and when I say take control, I don't necessarily mean, put a muzzle and a gimp mask on your woman. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that, you have to be in control of yourself. And I always tell people, I have a martial arts background. So I tell people, I say, look, if you control yourself, you control everything around you. So this idea that's number one. You have to control yourself. You have to be able to say, look, I can complain about this as much as I want, but all that complaining does is show weakness. I have to act. I have to act in positive ways. So, you bring those you bring those consequences to the table in a healthy way, and you just take control of the relationship. You learn how to say no. You learn how to say, look, this is what I need. Like I remember there was a time in my relationship where my ex tried to turn off the sex. And I said, I just got two things to tell you. And she's like, what? I said, number one, what do you call two people living together who aren't having sex? And she's like, what? I said, friends. I said, now let me tell you one other thing. If you're not fucking me, somebody else is. So you need to figure that out, and you need to make whatever you feel is the best choice at that point. And we continued having sex, and there was no problem. So when it comes to those types of things, I think that, again, as long as the maliciousness isn't there, and as long as you start like using red pill wisdom, I think the marriage is salvageable. But again, you have to be looking for patterns and things like that. So, because again, sometimes what will happen is her hypergamy will cause her to monkey branch, and she may just be mirroring what you're doing, or she might be chameleon what you're doing. And you have to know and be perceptive enough to know the differences.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to salvaging that relationship, if she's not past the point of no return yet, yes, the relationship is salvageable as long as you start putting these systems in place, these red pill systems in place, where you can go, no, I'm not going to tolerate that. I mean, you can do that if you want to, but there's going to be consequences. You start doing that, you will be happier. My editor did that. And in the 2 years since he's done that, he says his relationship has been the happiest it's ever been. And they've been married for over 20 years. And she hadn't passed the point of no return yet. He basically said, this is what I need, boom, boom, boom. And he laid down the rules, and he reiterated what he needed out of the marriage. And they're still happily married.
Yeah, DJ, you're absolutely right on everything you said. And guys, y'all need to understand something. Get y'all crayons out and listen to this.
Oh, here we go.
One of the greatest one of the greatest things that makes you a man and a king is sacrifice, gentlemen. And you cannot be in a boat that has a hole in it while you're dumping out water and she's going outside the boat, grabbing water and putting it back into the boat. It just doesn't do anything for you. But what y'all guys have to understand is that letting a woman go is a hard thing to do when you've never had the balls to do it before, or you've never had the strength to say no. And sometimes you're going to want to make things right with them when you know it's wrong. And that's why I always talk about sacrifice. Sometimes love her ass, love her curves, love her lips, love the fact that she cooks, love everything about her that you want to love about her. But you've got to love yourself that much more. And that's the issue with a lot of you guys. You don't love yourselves that much more to be able to make those Captain Kirk decisions. Listen, like DDJ said, if she's cheating on you, messing up your money and all those stuff, hey, that's her bag should be already packed up and right at the door. That should be a done data. But the problem with y'all guys is y'all make these hollow threats, and this is the worst thing you can do. If you threaten somebody, and again, a man promises. Most guys threaten. But when you say you're going to do something, you better back that action up, or she's never going to respect you again. But at the end of the day, guys, it is about sacrifices and knowing what is best for you. I'm not going to say leaving her is going to make you feel good. It's going to be a tough thing. It's going to be some lonely ass nights. It's going to be some nights where you're going to want to pick that phone back up and want to call her and rectify everything. But there's got to be something in you that says, man, this is poison. You've got to let it go. Keep your eyes forward, and there is going to be sunlight at that end of the tunnel, man.
Good stuff. Anthony, what are your thoughts? Is there any way to, because here's the thing. Your woman tried to withhold sex from you, and you said, all right, cool, you can do what you want. But if you do, your marriage is over. Why were you able to do that? How can men do what you did?
Yeah, so that was my, I would consider myself then like king purple pill, literally king of the purple pill, dating coaches and whatnot. And so that was an example of it, is I got myself in a situation with this crazy BPD chick, but I did have some really serious red pill leanings that I didn't get from the red pill community because I didn't really know about it at the time. I knew it existed. I thought it was just some like men's group on Reddit. I didn't understand what it was. But this is one of them. I had frame, significant and very serious frame for a lot of things in life. Whether it was business, whether it was philosophy and objectivism, whether it was the relationship itself and women. And I had decided years before I even met her, I was like, I've seen a lot of friends, a lot of people just go through shitty, sexless relationships. It seems fucking super unhealthy and retarded. So I'm not ever going to do that. By the time I met her, that was clear in my head. I fucking told her, I'm never going to be in a relationship where I'm not fucking every day or almost every day, unless I'm really old and I'm just, whatever, I'm 80 years old, some old man. So I had that frame, and that was a commitment I'd made philosophically independent of her before the fact. And I think through business and through life and through the things I'd gone through, that had given me the strength to develop that frame and maintain it in the face of a confrontation like that, a critical confrontation where she actually tried doing that orally and explicitly. So that's what happened with that, and I'm glad I did. Notwithstanding continuing an unhealthy relationship anyway, that was very complex and all this kind of fucked up shit in the speech. So yeah, it's balls, man. I've always had balls. I don't know why. It's maybe I was born with them, maybe I developed them as a kid, whatever. But I held frame when it mattered. I wanted to comment too. Something that came to mind too, and Steve was talking that is if you wanted to back that ass up, you got to back that action up. It's kind of what I was saying. I thought Steve might appreciate.
Yes.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to comment, what the hell was it? I'm having a brain fart right now. If I think about it, I'll let you know. But it was fucking.
I want to jump in when you're done there. That's cool.
Yeah,
go for it, DDG. I'll see what I can think of.
So here's the thing that I'm going to tell all you guys as well. And I say this, being married and divorced twice. Go for it.
Before I forget. Damn, lost it again. I need more fucking coffee. I'll get back to you in a minute.
It is better to stand alone and know where you stand than it is to stand with somebody else and not know anything.
Yeah. Oh, here's what I wanted to say. If you don't have kids with a woman and you're going through some serious shit in a marriage, whatever form that marriage is taken, prenup, no prenup, private marriage, all that shit, you probably just need to cut tail and leave. And there's two reasons for that. And it needs to be real. It doesn't mean you have to be a dick. It doesn't mean you have to go fucking, YouTube speech, flaming flame war on the internet like I did. But if you fucking walk away and it's real and she feels that, first of all, it's probably the right move. There's like a huge chance, 90% plus, that's the right move for you because there's no kids involved. You don't need her. There's a serious problem. It's fucked up. It's a lot of things she's not going to want to let go of. A lot of beta behaviors she's observed in you that are stuck in her head, that have ingrained and imprinted like a film. But second, if it is salvageable, then it's your best move anyways to walk away, because it's going to show you what she does when push comes to shove. She's going to you're withdrawing attention, you're withdrawing your dick, you're withdrawing your last name, you're withdrawing your power, all that shit from her, right? And you're walking with it. So A, it's probably the right move to make. B, if it was salvageable, it's going to bring out that behavior in her. It's going to bring out those emotions. It's going to cause her to chase you when you need her to chase you most. It's going to put you in the best frame to actually fix the relationship should you later change your mind. But in the meantime, it needs to be real. So if that makes sense, the best move you can make in a fucked up marriage when you find the red pill is to leave, is to withdraw attention in some significant, serious, major way, and you back it up like Steve was talking about. It's probably the right move, and if it's not, you'll figure that out by observing her behavior when she's scrambling to get you back.
Okay. I got you. So reaction. DDJ, what you got on that?
Well, I think that's all accurate, and I think that when it comes to those things, again, it's what do you bring to the table? What does your investment really look like? Because sometimes she'll misread you, and I think, like Steve said, don't confuse kindness for weakness, and a lot of times women will do that. They'll confuse it, and so you're like, no, don't get it twisted. This is what you got to do. So that's why I would say, when it comes to this idea, the thing about men is this. So men and actual men, they judge themselves based on what they've accomplished. Women judge themselves based on who they're fucking. So you have to understand that that's a difference in mindset. And if you take that feminine mindset and you judge yourself by this woman who you're having sex with, and your value is based on her, then you don't have any value at all. You don't value yourself. So you have to value yourself, and you have to understand that what your value is as a man. You know what you bring to the table when it comes to a relationship, but you also know what you bring to the table in life. This idea of worshiping at the altar of the pussy, that's why I call them purple pill power bottoms, is because these guys run around and they act all red pill and they're whatever, and then all of a sudden, they turn into simps when women are around. That's a problem. And you have to understand that, again, don't pay any attention to any woman if she's not going to be a value or an investment to your life. What do you bring to the table? That should be one of the first questions you should ask a woman, other than a $4 piece of pussy that everybody's hit. What do you bring to the table? And then the other side of it is that if she's playing games with you and things like that, it is always better to stand alone and know where you stand than to stand with a woman and not know anything.
Ooh.
And like Steve said, he said that, yeah, there's going to be some lonely nights and there's going to be some of those things. Let me tell you something. I've gone through some of those lonely nights, but I'll tell you what what happens on those lonely nights? Peace.
Oh yeah.
No arguing, no drama, no bullshit. It's just peace. And as a man, you will always be criticized. You'll be criticized by your woman as she tries to shit test you. You will be criticized by other men around you. And you have to be able to be self-aware enough to know when that criticism is valid and when it's not. And you also have to be on your game to be improving your life. A lot of people talk about, like, you see this also in the MGTOW community, where these guys talk about how, oh, you should stay away from women and do this and this and that. Well, that's only half the fucking story. The other half is, what are you doing to improve your life? And you see this with a lot of like these PUA coaches and things like that, where they talk about, oh, this is how you get women, but they don't talk about how you can improve your life. Yeah. The reality is, and what red pill men realize very quickly is this: when you are in your lane and you are doing what you need to do to improve your life, women will appear. You do not have to hunt for them. They will show the fuck up.
Yep.
Because they know.
Gentlemen, Donovan, I want to comment quickly here too, that it's my belief for quite a while now that men's Achilles heel, as we talk about in the red pill, is sex, right? If women, sex is what they bring to the table. It's what they manipulate men with, by and large, right? Women's Achilles heel is not sex. It is attention and validation from men. Whether that attention comes in the form of a text message or a dick in their vagina or a dick on their forehead or whatever. So that's where my comment was coming from before, is that if there's a serious problem in the marriage and there's no kids involved that would complicate it further, you need to withdraw all the attention in some serious way, right? That's your weapon, basically, to shape them back, put them back where they need to be, put them in their place, which is what they want you to do anyway, in a very deep, fundamental way. So from the men listening, keep in mind that women's Achilles heel is attention and validation from men, whether it's a like on Instagram, a phone call, a text, or your dick or whatever. And when you withdraw that, they scramble. And they don't want men knowing this. Us talking about this in the Red Man group or on Twitter or wherever else, women hate that when men figure this out, because they lose control like a societal, cultural level.
Yes. And
as well as within a relationship. They can't stand, just like men love fucking women. Women love fucking too, but not like we do. We have a desire for it and a need that I think is different from them. So that's it. Women's Achilles heel is attention and validation from men, especially men they value, but really from all men and any man in their life. And should a beta male withdraw that, someone they view as a beta male anyway, it's treason, and it screws with their head in a very useful way. So that's my piece.
Excellent. Gentlemen, you are watching the 70th episode of the Red Man Group. We are brought to you in part by Tactical Soap, which will instantly give you a 9-inch dick, an 8-figure bank account, 7 girlfriends, 6 wives, 5 baby mamas, 4 pregnancy tests, because at least one of them is yours, for 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree. I got the phone lines open right now, 914-205-5356. That's the number to call. While we are waiting on you guys to call, DDJ mentioned something that myself, Dean, and George talked about last night, which was being alone, having a moment of solitude. We as men, we are so much better equipped to handle being alone. The only reason, and Anthony, and everybody contributed to this, Anthony, you said it best. Men, we value sex. Women value attention, okay? Men don't want to be alone because we want to have sex. Women don't want to be alone because they want that attention. Well, as men, we thrive when we're alone. We thrive when there's solitude. And George said on the show last night, hey, you know what? If I don't have any pussy to smash, if I don't have anything to do, I'm going to light up a cigar, drink a cocktail, watch, a fireplace on Netflix. So I'm going to start with Steve here on this one. Do me a favor or talk about why a man's alone time is good and why are we so much better equipped to handle being by ourselves than women are?
Because a lot of people don't understand that once you cross this side of the street, you're never alone. And,
right.
And what I mean by you're never alone, guys, is that I'm not ever gonna call you us an A-list celebrities. We're like Z-list celebrities to women. They watch every move we make. They want to know everything we're doing, and they want to be a part of everything we're doing because they want us to notice them. So, like I was saying, you look at Thanksgiving, you have 5 women that tell you they want you to go see their parents, and you got 5 women that want to spend Thanksgiving at your place. You got 5 women that want to cook for you at their place. Christmas time, it's the same scenario. Your birthday, you got everybody calling. I want to spend birthday with you. Valentine's Day, this is what they don't understand. Women taking you out, women buying you flowers and chocolates. Not to say it's the right thing, but that's just is. Women buying you gifts and shoes and jewelry and women knocking at your door, coming at your job, crying, wanting to kill themselves, threatening suicide, just going out of their mind, and it's like they're a bunch of groupies. And when you can just, like I said back in the day, because I was laughing with George on this, back in my days, I'm an old motherfucker. I used to take my fucking telephone. Don't you judge me, motherfuckers. I had a telephone, took that motherfucker off the hook, turned off my pager. Yes, guys, I had a pager. And I would turn off my light. I put on my video games, and I get a bag of frozen vegetables and put it up under my nuts. And I would relax, and I would just have me time, because you don't get me time that much, because every woman wants a piece of you. I'm not saying generalizing all women. I'm just saying when women find you so fascinating and just so just exhilarating, something about you, they don't want to give you a piece of mind, because in their minds they feel like, if I don't stay in his world, somebody else is. So I need to keep doing it. So this is why, like George is saying, like I was telling Donovan George, I told him, go to Netflix, look up fire, because they always like to watch those medieval shows where the kings are always looking into the fire. And I started doing that. I was like, wow, this is fucking relaxing. But the thing is that you want to get away. It's you can't even put a post, I'm at the grocery store, because then you'll get a woman saying, what grocery store are you at? Who are you cooking meals for? Why aren't you cooking for me? Oh, you don't care about me? Are you seeing that bitch again? This is the life that you get on the other side of the street. So believe me time is the best time, because you want more of it. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you love the time that you have by yourself to relax and just breathe it all in without having to deal with all these damn women.
Real talk. Anthony, talk to me about Solitude, man.
Fuck yeah, I'm a huge fan of Solitude, first of all. I'm a total introvert, believe it or not. I did want to comment this, though, that my old friend, the Private Man, one of our former speakers who died of cancer a couple years ago, he was fond of saying that, the statement that men and women are different. And he meant that, that we are fundamentally and significantly different. It's a very serious thing that a lot of people get triggered by, not in our space, obviously, but feminists, SJWs, and all that shit. But men and women are different when we have evolved to be different. And I would say that's the number one reason why men benefit from solitude a lot more than women. Women, men and women both are social animals. Women in particular, though, are very social. They thrive off of it. They crave it. Whether it's attention from men or interacting with women, or even looking at the jobs they take social jobs versus STEM jobs, stuff like that. So men and women, I believe, as a species, have evolved to be compatible and complementary. And us benefiting from solitude and introspection and being alone and thinking. Donovan, are you talking? Oh, you're okay, yeah. So basically,
I got on the line. Is I'll let you talk. I'll mute myself so I can talk to the callers and let them know, hey, we got you on the line.
No problem.
Me and DD Jared does it.
Yeah. But I believe this, though, very strongly, that men and women are different. We've evolved to be different, and to be complementary on top of that. And men, being alone, meditating, or even just, staring into a fire or some shit like Steve was talking about with a bag of vegetables, frozen vegetables on your nuts. But this is real. Like, men are better at introspection. We're better at understanding our thoughts. We're better at thinking through complex problems. And being alone, away from noise and distraction and all this bullshit of the world, whether it was 1,000 years ago or 10 years ago or 10 minutes ago or tomorrow, that is how we think better and how we think more clearly about huge problems we want to tackle. Men are problem solvers. Yes. And major problems require solitude a lot of the time, in addition to things like teamwork, collaborating with other men like we do. Look at us now. The Red Man Group is a collaborative. We're not just competing with each other, right? We're talking through these ideas, going back and forth, agreeing and disagreeing sometimes, but we're also collaborating. But on top of that, we're also going to go be alone some points in our life, whether today, tomorrow, or whenever. And through that, you can think better and deeper about, specific issues you want to tackle. Like, George Bruno's fond of, smoking the tobacco pipe. That's an example of that. I do some of my best thinking thanks to George Bruno smoking a tobacco pipe maybe once, twice a week. I never thought I'd smoke in my life, any kind of tobacco, but that I do. And I see why he does it. And I see why men throughout history have done that, because it fucking works. And tobacco happens to, I think tobacco like that happens to be an accelerator of that thought process, as well as stillness meditation or just being alone, going for a fucking walk and thinking through your shit. Steve Jobs, for example, is famous for going on long walks, whether with somebody or alone. That is masculinity, and that has evolved men, working in solitude and thinking. And
EDJ, what are your thoughts on solid? Now, you have 4 kids, right? You've been married twice. Is it fair to say you haven't had much solitude?
Well, yeah, during the marriage, obviously, and those times I didn't have much solitude. But I think the other side of it is that you take the solitude where you can get it. You take it to the car ride at work, you take it to the car ride home, and you really have to try to find a little bit of that balance to get there. And I agree with what was said about solitude completely by everybody else, is that you have to have it. We do some of our best thinking when we get away from everything, because it allows us to kind of go through and figure out what our problems are. And so sometimes you have to step away from society and from people in order to do that. So like if I'm stressed about something or whatever, I will isolate a little bit in order to and do something on my own, whether it's a video game or whether it's beating on my heavy bag or whether it's going and taking a walk, or I'll do something where I don't have to think about any of that stuff. And then eventually when those thoughts kind of creep in, now all of a sudden they creep in from a completely different perspective, because I've kind of divorced myself from that environment. I've created that solitude space for myself, and that allows me a lot more mental clarity. And again, I think a lot of men need to do something that either involves solitude, but that allows them to be solitary. If you are, I mean, one of the problems with social media is, like, you look at Facebook, you look at Twitter, you look at all, the likes, the dislikes, even on this video, is that a lot of people have gone from internal validation to this idea of external validation. And so they think, well, if people don't like me, or if a certain group of people don't like me, all of a sudden I don't have value. Well, maybe you may not have value in that group because they don't see your value, but that doesn't mean that you don't have any. And I think that that's one of the challenges that a lot of men have to deal with. And so when you look at the idea of solitude, you have to look at it as kind of a recharge moment. It's the time where we as men recharge. And when you haven't been, when you haven't experienced a lot of solitude and you're trying to create solitude for yourself, solitude is different than loneliness.
DDJ, can you hear us?
Your solitude.
There we go.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good stuff.
Did I break up?
Yeah, you were breaking up a little bit, but we got you back now.
Okay, so what I was going to say is, and let me finish up on this. What I was going to say is that, solitude is different than loneliness. And when you're first used to loneliness, or I should say when you're first used to...
DDJ, your connection's getting pretty rough.
Okay. All right. We'll wait for him to get back in. I'm going to shout out the super chats here quickly. Torpedo Man with the $20 super chat says, quote, men, be your own mental point of origin, validate yourself through your achievements, and learn to strengthen yourself when rejected by women. Don't require the acceptance of women to validate you as a man. Well said. Torpedo Man with another $2 super chat says, my best time alone is when I am sailing. Phone lines are open, guys. 914-205-5356. Area code 605. You dropped off after like 3 minutes. Guys, when you call in, be patient, right? Sometimes it'll be 5, maybe 10, 15 minutes before we can get you on. Like, this is, come on. You guys are killing me. Give us a call back. Wait on hold. We'll get to you as soon as we can. We got a caller from overseas. You are on live with the Red Man Group. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, greetings from Finland. I'm actually American, but I've lived in Finland for 20 years, and I got into this situation, but from a long-distance relationship. I was totally blue with pill and all kinds of mistakes in my relationship. So, but I mean, for the last 5 years, I mean, I've been single for 5 years and working on myself. And I have a 25. I'm 49 years old. I went to Caltech. I've achieved excellence. I worked for Nokia a long time. In my opinion, I've gone through a lot. I have 2 kids with my ex-wife, and from the 5 years, I started, working on myself, getting in shape, and working on psychology, reading lots of books about it. And I have a 25-year-old girlfriend who is BPD. Definitely, I didn't realize the dangers of BPD until I started reading Rola's book. And there were like all these red flags, like, oh God, that's just like me.
Hang on a second, caller.
Anthony, like you're
Caller, let me interrupt you here.
Hear me, right?
How do you hold on a second? How do you know she's, when you say BPD, how do you know? And I'm not trying to discredit you, but a lot of people, for whatever reason, seem to think, oh my God, I have a B. Listen, I've been with a lot of women. I've never been with a BPD woman that hold on. Let me finish. Caller. Let me finish. A lot of guys think, oh my God, the girl I'm dealing with is BPD. So is she diagnosed with BPD? What symptoms of BPD is she exhibiting?
Well, she was abused as a young girl by her father, and she's got cuts all over her body.
Oh, there you go. All right, I'm good.
Tattoos, and many. Well, she was even a lesbian. She's actually married to an American. She's a Finnish girl, 25. She's beautiful. She's a dancer, and
dancer, stripper. You mean?
Okay, no, but she was a hooker. She was a hooker. No, I didn't.
Welcome to the club, brother.
And because I already have like kids and stuff, I was in a place where I didn't. Maybe I was a little bit white knightish with her.
You were.
I didn't like this. I said, okay, like you guys say, we all have our path. I'm not going to say either. I mean, when I was married, I'm ashamed of it, but I slept with hookers like a lot. And because I was in a very unhappy marriage.
So you're 25. Hold on, caller, quickly. I had to mute him because that wind is killing me. So caller, if you can hear me, I'm going to unmute you, but I need you to answer a question for me. So are we talking, because you skipped around a little bit. So your 25-year-old girlfriend, she's the one abused by her father, cuts all over herself, tattoos, and she was a hooker. Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay, so here's my question. And a lot of guys call in, and we're hard on guys, and a lot of guys in the chat are like, oh my God, I wouldn't have touched that bitch from. Listen, hindsight is always 20/20. But my question to you is, when did you find this stuff out about her? Was this before or after you committed to her? Because it seems fairly obvious to me. Go ahead.
Day one.
Okay, so
yeah, day one.
Sorry. Okay, so you knew that she was a. So you knew that she. Did you know she was BPD, or were you not aware what BPD was at that point?
No, I wasn't aware of BPD.
Okay, and you're still with her?
She also has something called EID. I'm still with her.
Okay,
and
why?
I would say that I am the object of her love. What did you call the love bomb or something like that? Okay. She really has been like a great girlfriend.
Yeah, you're a target for her. She's like feeding off of you. It's a lot of fun though, probably, I'm sure.
Why are you still with her? Like, that's an honest question, because we know this chick is going to ruin your life. So why is it? And again, this is an honest question. I'm not being facetious here. Is the pussy that good? Is she that hot? Like, why are you still with this 25-year-old BPD?
Okay. Yeah. Well, first of all, she moved in pretty fast.
Oh,
she moved into my place. I was living by myself.
Oh no!
And
no way.
I don't know. Like,
dude, stop! I try to let this.
I've had enough.
Be good. I try to be good and shut the fuck up, dude. Dude, let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. You're the reason, dog. It's not her. It's you. You are. Wait. Before I say what I need to say, you want to lie the truth, man. What do you want? I'm gonna give you an option. Do you want me to lie to you? Or you want me to tell you the truth? What do you want, buddy?
I want truth.
Okay. Well, the truth is you're the problem. Look, if I go fishing, if I go out with Anthony fishing out there in beautiful Florida, and I go fishing with him, and I grab a fish, and it's got one little fin, and his eyes falling out of his socket. You think I'm gonna put it in a bucket and cook it and eat it? No, I'm gonna throw that motherfucker back into the water. This is your problem. Your problem is you don't have a sense of self. You knew she was fucked up, and yet she didn't move in with you. You moved her in because you realized that you were so desperate and so needy, and you wanted to lock her in, handcuff her, and all that, and helicopter over. You wanted to know where she was at all times instead of learning your value and worth. This whole thing could have been a simple thing. When are you guys are going to realize that there are some broken toys out there, and there's some toys that work correctly? Throw away the broken toys. Don't give me that, well, you know what? Everything is great about us, but she's a fucked up person that has 3 eyes and 3 titties. Well, that might be a good thing, but you know what I mean? I'm just saying for you guys, be more accountable of your actions, man. You are the reason why she's acting out. You're the reason why she moved in. And you're the reason why you're dealing with somebody who you should have got rid of, like cancer or a fucking virus in your damn computer. But yet you have no sense of self. You don't know who you are. And this is why you're getting what you're getting. Thank you.
And again, caller, listen, I don't want to be too hard on you because we've all made these egregious decisions. You are only 29 years old. You are a very, very young man.
49.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said 40. Oh, either way, right? See, you're a 49-year-old guy. You're dating a girl half your age. And so you're thinking, oh my God, she's hot. She sucks my dick. She used to be a stripper, so she knows how to fucking suck. It's very easy to be sort of taken in by a girl like that. So at this point, listen, we can tell you what to do and what not to do. You're a grown man. You're going to make this decision. But here's what I can tell you will happen. The longer you're with her, the further she's going to fuck up your life. My advice to you, I don't think there's any doubt about it. You need to get rid of this particular female. Thanks for calling. Area code 289 is next. 786 is after area code 289. Area code 289, you're on Live with the Redman Group. Go ahead.
What's going on, guys?
Not too much, brother. What you got?
Quick question. Roosh warned about hedonism in the game. I just want your thoughts on that. I'm going to just make it quick. Thanks a lot for all your work, guys. Cheers.
I didn't hear what he said. He said Roosh and then prick.
Oh, sorry.
Roosh had warned against hedonism in his book, The Game, or Game. Excuse me. I think that's all the caller wanted to talk about.
Oh, okay. Hey, you're a smart guy. What do you think about that?
Oh, me? No, I'm just some dumb redneck from Florida. Don't mind me.
let me jump in here if I could.
I don't know what that fucking shit is.
All right. So this idea of unrestrained hedonism, I mean, those are people who don't have impulse control. So this idea that we're sitting here and having this conversation about, hedonism, you have to be able to maintain control. And part of the way you maintain control is you do things in moderation. If you don't, they become addictions and they become extremely unhealthy. And a lot of people are addicted to the dopamine hit that hedonism brings.
Oh, yeah.
Now, whether it's the dopamine hit of an orgasm or the dopamine hit of the attention or the dopamine hit of certain drugs and alcohol, when you get addicted to those things, it becomes very, very bad and it destroys other aspects of your life. And I think that the problem that you have is that, again, when you embrace hedonism, you lose control of yourself. And then all of a sudden people start taking advantage of you because you're chasing the dragon of this dopamine hit, whether it's a dopamine hit, again, from drugs or from unhealthy behaviors.
Yeah, I can back that up. I fully co-sign what DDJ just said. I would also say that Roosh is projecting part of his own life, his personal life, into that book and focusing in on that. The same way if he wrote a book and it was, warning against the dangers of like cocaine addiction or something, like, sure. Okay, great. Like we're aware that, things can be bad for you and do them in excess or that is dangerous inherently or whatever. Mindless hedonism and the mindless pursuit of pleasure, just like DDJ said, can result in all kinds of stupid shit. That guy who just called in a relationship with a BPD is probably going through that. That's why he's with her. He's addicted to the pleasure palace, as our good friend Captain Gayley Boyle would say. And he's young, he has a long life ahead of him, and he'll probably figure it out. The fact that he called in is actually a good sign that he's willing to talk about it and be confronted about it in public like this, or on, digital public like this. So yeah, the hedonism is not, it's just another crutch in life, another addiction you can get hooked on, this hedonism crap. It also could just be Roosh virtue signaling to a new tradcon kind of market that I think he's tapping into. So yeah, it's not a huge deal. It's just one more trap in life you can fall into, the same way you can fall into the trap of eating sugar or fucking cocaine or whatever the fuck.
Booger sugar, baby.
Yeah, it's not a big deal bigger than anything else in the world you can run into. Just don't fall for the trap. Don't fall for the crutch. It's just like Steve says, man, have a fucking backbone. Be a man.
Let's go to the next caller. Area code 786. You're on live with the Red Man Group.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Not too much, brother. What you got?
Hello? Not much. My question is for you, Donovan. I just saw your weight loss video the other day that you posted fairly recently. I was just generally curious. Overall, you said you were in a relationship at the time when you had lost the weight. How drastically did your girl tighten up after having lost 100+ pounds?
She didn't. She did not. The interesting thing is I've actually lost a good amount of weight twice in my life. The first time I lost a lot of weight was when we moved. See, we moved from Florida to Atlanta the first time. And when I was in Atlanta, I was 27, 28 years old. I think I went from 270 all the way down to 205. She did not like that at all. And so she kept feed me. That's when I ballooned all the way up to 312 pounds. Well, as soon as I started, trying to lose weight again, she tried to push back again. Now that, coupled with a lot of other different things, caused me to say, okay, this isn't working. And dude, I was the one that kicked her out of my house. I called up Darcy's parents. I said, all right, Ann, Donald, Darcy's coming to be with you. Like, there's no way, like, I'm done. That's it. So I kicked her out of the house. So yeah, the first time she got me. The first time I lost weight, she sabotaged it. But fortunately for me, I was able to see what she was doing the second time, and I kicked her to the curb. And obviously my life went the way it did after that.
Mm-hmm. And just after that, how did women's response to you change in general?
Yes,
like
substantially. Substantially.
I'm currently 27 years old and the heaviest I've ever been. And I'm embarking on a weight loss journey my damn self, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, listen, you guys all know, you guys who have followed me, you guys know the story about Amy, the worst heartbreak of my life. Amy was 19 years old when I met her. Amy was a smoke show. She was a 9. Long blonde hair, beautiful face, huge boobs, great ass. Guess what? If I were 312 pounds, Amy would not have given me a second thought. Now, I was a good-looking guy with no red pill awareness, but I was good-looking enough to get and keep her attention at least for the first 6 to 8 months. But she's probably cheating on me the whole time. But yes, the answer is obvious. When I lost weight, when I dropped the weight, the female response to my person was substantially better. And I'll actually take it one step further. I first started growing a beard in November of 2010. Just a few months after I lived in Vegas, a buddy of mine said, hey, it's No Shave November. I had no idea that I could grow a full beard because I had shaved it my entire life. I was like, all right, cool. I'll go ahead and let my beard grow out. I let it grow out. It is exactly what you see here. And that's when things went through the roof. So now I'm in great shape. I've got a beard. I'm confident, et cetera, et cetera. The rest is history.
Do you feel like TRT at all helps you keep the weight off?
Yes, TRT is probably the single biggest factor. And I don't want to turn this into a TRT thing. But you called up and you asked the question to get the answer. Yes. I started TRT when I was 35. Actually, I started TRT when I was 37 years old, and I'm going to be 42 here in a couple months. And yeah, it certainly keeps me in shape. Thanks for the call, area code 786. Be sure to go to donovansharpe.com if you want to see all my TRT videos. The phone lines are still open, guys. 914-205-5356. Again, that's 914-205-5356. My guy, John McGill, he is the 49-year-old who had the 25-year-old BPD chick. Now, here's the thing. He said that he told her to leave per his request, and she left. Then he says she improved a lot. So it sounds to me like our guy is trying, and I think that might have been the reason that he called us. I think he wanted us to give him permission to let the BPD girl move back in. Anthony, the dumb redneck from Florida, I'm going to give you the floor on this, man. What is your advice to John McGill, who appears to be looking for a reason to get back with 25-year-old Slutty, prostitute, cuts herself, abused by her father, BPD chick. Unmute yourself, Anthony.
Yeah, sorry, I was on mute there.
That's right.
Managing a lot of little different mechanics here on Twitter at RMG. Yeah, man, if you want to fuck your life up, that's probably the fastest way to do it. So if you have some self-destructive impulses, getting back with that chick is the fastest way to amplify those and get that done. And look, that's obviously a bad idea from my perspective. Everyone listening, maybe that's what you need. Maybe you need to zero yourself out and fuck your life up and learn the hard way.
Now he's getting indignant. Oh, need your permission. Yes. No, you don't. But you called up to get our permission. Listen, that's what this show is about, man. We're not gonna, just like Steve says, this ain't chicken soup for the soul, bruh. You told us she was BPD. You told us why she was BPD. Listen, you're gonna do whatever it is you want to do. You don't need permission from us, right?
Well, yeah, let me say this too. There's almost no chance. First of all, you shouldn't try to heal this chick. Second of all, there's almost no chance you're going to heal her. BPD is extremely reluctant to any kind of therapy or anything like that healing. It almost never happens. She probably has other personality disorders too. I think he alluded to that, other symptoms of other mental health issues. That's very common, comorbidity between these issues, between mental health disorders. But I will say this, man, I'm actually very glad I had my experience with Medusa, seriously. And I mean that across a wide range of issues. I needed that kind of experience in my life to wake up. It was a really good primer to find the red pill. I think I could have navigated my way through the red pill understanding when I found it anyway, but it would have been a lot more difficult and it would have taken a lot longer. Having that very toxic, very bizarre experience and it, being this huge public shit show, the video and the speakers, her involvement with the convention, interviewing everybody and all that shit, it was a very good thing. And I'm happy it happened. As some people have noted, in the end, I don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter to me very much. Other than it was a part of my life and I learned from it and it's part of who I am. It shaped me into the man I am today. So if you feel that you need to manage, he's talking about managing BPD, all this shit and be with this chick, dude, it's going to blow up in your face. There's like a 99.999% chance it's going to blow up in your face.
I have new information. Breaking news. John is also BPD.
He's probably not he could be, but he's probably not. He probably has symptoms of narcissism. He's probably, let me say this. He probably is not NPD, like narcissistic personality disorder, but he probably has an NPD type response from trauma of his own. There's almost no chance he doesn't have serious childhood trauma. That's why he's with this chick. That's one of the reasons I was able to be with Medusa for so long and have a relationship with her, is dating a crazy psychopathic hooker was a walk in the park compared to my childhood. I grew up dodging knives, fists, and scissors, all kinds of shit. I've seen both of my parents in straitjackets in the back of a cop car and an ambulance and shit, going to mental health hospital.
Dude,
so Medusa was relatively sane. I mean, living with this beautiful hooker who fucking suck every day and made, these world-class paleo, gluten-free, organic meals constantly as some sort of endless guilt trip for being a hooker on the side. I mean, this shit was dope as fuck compared to dodging fists and knives every day as a kid. So what I'm saying with this guy is he thinks he's BPD. He's just self-diagnosing off Google. Yeah. He's probably not. He probably has CPTSD.
Oh, wait a minute.
He needs to look into Richard Grandin's work.
The Caltech. Ooh.
Now he's probably just lying that he speaks 8 languages. I mean, this guy has some serious issues. Whatever, man. That's fine. Look, this guy's going to do what he's going to do. Maybe he needs to be with his BPD chick and, lose his ass. Hopefully he doesn't kill himself and he goes through whatever kind of experience he needs to go through to fucking pick himself up and make a better life. Or just fuck your shit up, man. If you want to fuck your life up, we're not going to stop you. Do what you got to do, bro.
You said, Steve, hold on. Steve, you said you had something to add to this.
Hey, let me say something to this young man that's telling us about the 20 million languages he has and how many weights he can lift and all that other stuff. Look, man, Thanos said it best. You can't deal with your own failure. So what did that bring you back to? Me. So here's the thing with you, big dog.
Thanos.
You don't have BPD. You don't have BPD. What you have is CAKE. You're a cupcake. That's your problem. You're caking. And the problem is the difference between you and A1 on this motherfucking panel is A1 took fucking action. That's the difference. You didn't take action. All you're doing is sitting on an umbilical cord in your own little sweat and tears, complaining, bitching, whining, and moaning like a fucking female. Excuse me, I mean to cuss. God damn it. You're like a female. And that's the problem. That's and this right here, for those who are listening, this is what your life is going to be like. This is why we are telling you guys, if you don't get a grip on who you are, this is going to be your end result. That guy right there, just sitting around wanting somebody back. Man, you ain't BPD, you cake, man.
Hold on, Steve. His response to you, he said, "Fuck you."
Hey, look, let me tell you something. You can say all you want, but how much you want to bet if I got hold of your girl? I bet you she'd be sucking my dick.
Oh, no.
You want to try that?
Let me comment here too. He says he has a diagnosis, so he might actually be telling the truth on some of this stuff. We can't necessarily be completely bullshit. Well, let me get this out. Getting a diagnosis from a psychologist doesn't BPD and these cluster B disorders, any personality disorder. It's not like a blood test. You don't just like they don't just fucking check your blood and they're like, oh man, you have fucking ASPD or you have BPD. It doesn't work like that. So what they do, they look at symptoms and they listen to you and they try to provide something if this guy's even telling the truth. But it doesn't mean he has BPD. He probably just has CPTSD. He probably has a traumatic response to childhood shit, like really serious shit. And they're just telling him shit, and they'll tell him all kinds of bullshit. And in the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. He has his personality, whatever the fuck it is. He can either heal from it, learn from it, make it better, or just be a piece of shit. Whatever you want to do, man.
So DDJ, let me come to you on this. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that this guy is telling the truth about the fact that he is BPD. And by the way,
I don't care about that.
Listen, neither.
No. Let me explain something. I don't give a single shit about that.
All right.
Because I'll tell you what, I don't care if you have borderline personality disorder. I don't care if you're depressed. I don't care if your pussy hurts. I don't care if you have sand in your vagina. I don't care. And let me tell you why. Because none of that changes the fact that this woman who has successfully love bombed you is cancer in your life. You don't cuddle cancer to cure it. You kill it. You get away from it. You cut it out of your life. You have a woman who has a cluster B disorder. You have a woman who has a bipolar disorder. You know, she's got borderline personality disorder. You know, all those women are extremely successful love bombers. They are extremely dangerous to men, and their relationships always explode unless the man becomes their servant and their slave. And even then, they sometimes explode. So now, at the end of the day, you know, you miss this girl because she successfully love bombed you. The reality is that you need to get away from her. Again, you get away from people like this. You get away from narcissists. You cut them off. You ghost. You get the fuck out. And because again, in this situation, explicitly, it's better to stand alone than to stand with somebody else who you don't know what's going on with their lives. If she's an ex-prostitute or she's a current prostitute or she's hypersexual, I mean, really, you think you think that kind of girl is relationship material? I mean, we've all had our blue pill moments, but you know, you already got out of the maw of the dragon. Don't put your face back in it. You know, don't be that guy. So whether you've got borderline personality disorder or whatever your situation is, what needs to happen at the end of the day is you need to start being healthy. And that means making better decisions. It's the reason why, like, there was a guy, you know, they're doing weight loss. I'm doing some weight loss right now. And you know what? I don't go to fast food. I don't do drive-through. I don't eat milkshakes. You know, I don't do those things because I'm trying to lose weight. It's the same thing with these unhealthy women. You stay away from them. Just stay away from them. Doesn't matter what kind of diseases or whatever thing you had, just stay away from them. You don't cuddle scorpions. You stay away from them. That's all I got.
Listen. I remember a while back, I had a limitable man on my show, and on his website, he has what's called the dark triad test. Take this test, and if you score a certain amount, then you're a dark triad, right? And so we had all these people calling in, and they were like, well, listen, my name is Tony, and I'm dark triad. And was just laughing. He's like, dude, the test wasn't real. Just because you think you're dark triad doesn't mean you're dark triad. Just because you cut yourself once, just because you're a little depressed, just because you're a little bit crazy, does not mean you're BPD. Here, news flash, gentlemen. Alpha males don't call themselves alpha males, okay? Crazy people, and I've never called myself an alpha male because I don't really think I am. Maybe I'm sort of a a higher beta male? I don't know, but I'm not going to call myself that. It's like giving yourself a nickname. No, people give you nicknames. Crazy people don't know they're crazy, man. If you really are BPD, you wouldn't be in the chat blowing shit up, trying to convince us that you're BPD. You speak 7-8 languages. You went to Caltech. Enough is enough. Like, we got it, right? Like, tell us whatever you want, guys. If you're gonna call in, if you want guidance, you got to be honest with us. I don't have any more or less respect for you because you're BPD. Just like DDJ said, I don't give a shit if you're BPD, DPD, JD. I don't give a shit. You cannot be with a BPD woman. I don't give a fuck how she's improved herself.
Well, if you're a dude and you've been DP'd, I probably am not going to have any respect for you. Just saying.
That was definitely a slip.
Yeah, he did mention too managing her or something, and there's almost no chance of that. Like, I can guarantee this dude does not have the game. That's like fucking taming a fucking like mountain lion in your house. Like, dude, you are fucking. Like, I fuck some crazy ass chicks even now, and I do so with the utmost caution because I know I'm playing with fucking fire, and I can guarantee you my game is 10 times tighter than this guy's, and my frame and all that shit. So yeah, he's fucking around with fire, man. He's gonna get burned. Look, some kids got to touch the stove more than once. This kid is probably that fucking guy. He's got to touch the stove a couple times.
There is no risk. There is no risk, right? I don't know why, Anthony. He said, I'm not touching the stove, bitch. I am the stove, god damn it. I can handle a BPD woman because I'm BPD. Let me let you in on a little secret here, John. Okay? BPD women will do far more damage to men than BPD men will do to women, bruh. Real talk. Just because you think you're BPD does not make you immune to the wiles of a woman. Keep fucking with this girl, and in 3 weeks, you're going to call us up and say, holy shit, she's pregnant with twins. She got me put in jail. She kicked me. I got kicked out of my own house, and now I got a restraining order she's got a restraining order against me. Keep fucking with her, and you're going to find out what happened.
Wait, Donovan, you know what? I'm going to disagree with everybody on the panel, and let me say to old John. John, I'm sorry. Look, why don't you do this, dog? Why don't you go get some roses? I say about 2 dozen of them. Get about everybody on the panel. Just get 2 dozen roses, a teddy bear, and you go get a radio, a big boom box. Open her door outside her window and hold it up in the air and play some music about 12 midnight and tell her how much you love her. And I promise the lady at the window is going to tell you that she's on that flight. And if you hurry fast enough, you could stop the flight, show her how much you love her, and have that happy ending. So run, get in that taxi cab or that Uber, stop the plane, get on the cockpit, and tell her how much you love her and how wrong all of us are. Yes, how wrong Anthony is, how wrong DJ is, how wrong Donovan is. We're all wrong, man. Go tell her how much you love her, how much you need her, and how special she is to you, so the two of you can live happily ever after, dog.
Here he goes. Look. John is a woman. He has just used the female argument of all arguments. You're projecting. Oh, my God, John. Dude, listen, take Steve's advice. Go get a boombox and some roses and play this song, my friend. This is it. John says, you don't have all the answers for real, then why did you call us, bruh?
Well, and more importantly, when you head over to her house with those roses, the guy that she's railing is probably going to be the one answering the door.
Oh, he really has BPD.
No, he gonna be bending that ass over.
Yes, he will.
Bending ass over.
All right,
there it is.
Get back on track here, guys. Shout out to Mick Inks with the $10 super chat. Somebody time out John McGill. John, stop talking. There's too much BPD going on here, man. Like, you're too much for me. I can't handle it. Getting back to the girlfriends are better than wives. I want to go back to a question that Marcus, just bit my tongue, that Marcus asked. So how do you build a woman? And I'm going to start with you, Anthony, because a lot of guys, the mistake that they make is they think that they can take a damaged woman like John here, right? They think they can take a damaged woman and undamage her. I don't want to say that it's possible in a lot of cases. I think that if men have red pill awareness enough, I think that they can mitigate the inherent risks that it comes with messing with women. So what should men do when they think that they have someone of potential quality, but then maybe not so much, like you're starting to see red flags? Do you try to exercise red pill awareness and not only change her, but change yourself? Or do you just fuck her and chuck her and let her go?
Yeah, I would say I would actually sidestep both of those options. Any guy who's trying to fix a woman who has like any kind of significant red flag, that's like mommy issues on display 100%. You need to fix your shit. You need to read books. You need to meditate. You need to, get on with your life and improve in other ways, like DDJ was talking about, like all of our speakers at 21 Convention talk about. If you're fixing broken women, I mean, that's like overt mommy issues on display. And you can dress them up and bullshit all you want on YouTube chat and say that I'm this and I'm that and I'm the stove or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, whatever.
No, this is like trauma. It's like real psychological trauma you have from your childhood probably. And you think by fixing this woman, it's going to fix some other shit in your head with your mother or something like that. Dude, damaged women are, if women are fuck. Look, women do not respond well to trauma. Men can and often do. They don't always, but we can. Women don't. Yet women have to preserve their nature as a woman, and so that major element of being a human being for them, that femininity, that literally their fucking DNA is preserving it over time. Whether it's preserving their youth or preserving their psychology and preserving their personality, not getting traumatized and fucking damaged. That doesn't mean those damaged trauma women are not delicious sometimes and tantalizing and seductive. They most certainly fucking can be. That's the entire reason that there's mythologies surrounding this woman. Gorgons, succubi, vampires, demon women, all this shit. There's a reason that shit's like that. But no, it's just a fucking waste of time, man. It's 99 times out of 100, which is why we say don't do it, because the exception fucking proves the rule. It's not going to work out. It's going to work out, or let me put it this way. Not only is it not going to work out for you and for good, it's going to work out particularly fucking bad. These women are really good at roping you, love bombing you, roping you into relationships, roping you into decisions, getting in your head. And you're going to pay the price for allowing him in your life. I can fucking guarantee you this John guy, that shit's going to blow up in his face in a really spectacular way. Whether it's like some huge divorce where he gets fucked and loses half his shit. He loses, he has kids with her and he's stuck with this woman in his life for the rest of his life, paying endless amounts of child support that she blows on, Chad Thundercock and fucking Louis Vuitton purses or whatever the fuck. So no, you just can't fix these women. And even trying to, the desire to, he needs to look into like Sean Smith, Richard Grannon, Dr. Robert Glover. This is like nice guy syndrome, fixing broken women, fixing damaged women and all that shit. I know for a fact, for example, when I had the same issue pop in my head when I figured out how fucked up Medusa was, like literally the day before I left, like last night, I was packing up shit for a couple of days. I looked at her and I was like, I can't fucking fix you. Like, you were so fucked beyond belief. Yeah. I was just said it right to her face. I was like, you're totally fucked. And that was actually me, I think, kind of vomiting any desire I had to fix her. Like realizing how fucked up she was, I was like, this is impossible. Independent of what I want, like this is totally fucked. You're fucked. You were fucked before I met you. And I'm seeing that now on display in real life. I'm fucking out of here. I'm gonna go hang out with Socrates. That's literally what happened in my case. Jesus. Yeah, fuck them and chuck them. Move on. Do not waste your time trying to undo permanent damage for women.
Steve, what's your take on this?
Did he say Chad Thundercock?
And his buddy Tyrone is from football. Man.
They call him Big Rome.
Yeah, Big Rome.
Big Rome and Chad Thundercock, man, in the tag team it.
Oh, yeah. All right. But guys, listen. I don't want you to end up like this guy that was trying to defend a crazy ass bitch. What I'm trying to get you guys to see is that sometimes, unfortunately for you guys, y'all want a woman really bad or you want a relationship really bad, that you are blind by what's happening in front of you. Because sometimes she could build up your ego on one end, but with her right hand, but with her left hand pulling your feathers, to stop you from scoring. So you've got to be cognizant of everything that's going around with you. And again, guys, I'm not telling you not to love and all that other stuff and be cold, but I'm telling you to just think for a moment. If you see the warning signs, and this is what I was talking about yesterday, Donovan, y'all guys know Crystal Lake has a murderous guy in a hockey mask and a hatchet, yet in his world, he keeps going back to Crystal Lake saying, well, gee, the water's nice. And that's the thought process with y'all guys. Y'all have to look. These are what the sacrifices are about. If she's messed up like she is, you've got to throw her back in the water. because she can do more harm and more damage to you on the back end. Like Anthony said, what happens if you have a child by this woman? What I mean, there are so many things that can happen that can destroy your life. It is better to what we call charge it to the game.
That's right.
Charge it, let it go, throw her back in the water. Now, don't get me wrong. Before you throw in the water, I mean, there's nothing wrong. She give you a little bit of head, a little bit of dome. I mean, a little bit of something as a goodbye gift.
I know we just broke up, kid, but can you suck my dick just a little before you go?
Yeah, lick the balls, girl, and then throw it back in the water. That's
stuff a plan B in her mouth and fucking go for it.
There it is. DDJ, let me ask you a slightly different question. What is the line of emotional demarcation for women? Right? Like, what does a woman, because listen, every woman is crazy, right? Obviously, some women are crazier than others, but what's the deal breaker for DDJ in terms of crazy?
I think the deal breaker for me when it comes to women is women who are completely divorced from reality, right? You know, like when hypergamy happens and it's working in your favor, everything's great. You know, she's going out of her way, she's invested, everything is cool. But then what ends up happening is that once I start seeing projection, once I start seeing a refusal to accept any kind of responsibility, once I start seeing that she's not investing her time. Oh, and by the way, guys, here's another little tidbit for you. You may not ever be able to prove that your ex is cheating on you or whatever, but here's the thing that she can't hide. She can't hide her time. Either she's investing that time with you or she's investing it elsewhere. And if she's not with you and she's lied to you about where she is, you don't necessarily need to know who she's fucking or where she's fucking or whatever. What you need to understand is she's not investing that time in you, and she should. And I'm not saying that she should be attached to your hip or you need to keep her on a short leash. But what I am saying is that if she can't be responsible for her time, then there it is. If she's not investing that time with you, she's investing it with someone else. And once you actually start addressing that, the deal breaker for me is when they refuse to address it, when they start the deflections, when they start the whole emotional manipulation and then the shaming language and everything else. I'm done. Go play hide and go fuck yourself. I got shit to do. Because you know, at the end of the day, I'm not Captain Save-A-Ho. And you shouldn't be either. Any of the guys that are listening to this, you should never be Captain Save-A-Ho. Okay?
Well, if you're going to play Captain Save-A-Ho, you need to send her to the 22convention.com, buy a ticket, make them great again. You got no chance of fixing her. Our chance is low, but we'll try together. It's Admiral. It's the whole fleet, an armada of Save-A-Ho, Captain Save-A-Ho.
Listen.
Brought to you by the Bukkake Choke Slam.
21 convention slogan should "We can fix her. We have the technology."
I'm being facetious, by the way. If your chick has a personality disorder, I am not guaranteeing that we can fix her, and I don't necessarily want her at 22Con. Just saying, if you really want to send her somewhere,
and that video,
good vibes, you know,
and that video will be behind a paywall.
Oh,
and an age verification.
You better.
Oh my god,
guys, this was a crazy episode. Big thanks goes out to our super chatters. Marcus, $5 super chat. Mick Inks with a couple of $10 super chats. Trapetto Man with a $20 super chat and a $2 super chat. Shout out to all of our chatters. Shout out to BPD John. Even though we got a little adversarial, I like John. I like the fact that John thinks he has borderline personality disorder. John, listen, call back anytime, man. You are more than welcome. I would love to joust with you again. Maybe send pictures of your girlfriend's ass so we can see what a BPD ass looks like. Let's go around the room here, man. Steve, any last words, brother?
No, hey, guys, much love to y'all guys, man. I just want to say, chat room, I love y'all guys. Did an excellent job again holding the line and keeping just in the topic and everything and not talking about other things. I just want to tip my hat off to the chat room. Proud of y'all guys. Keep that shit up, man. We love y'all dogs, man.
Oh, wait a minute. We've actually got one more question here. Marcus with the $10 super chat says, any additional tips on how to help out our married brothers? I often want to give them red pill wisdom to help boost their game, but I also don't want to give them advice that would cause divorce. You see, here's the thing, right? Red pill wisdom would more than likely cause divorce anyway, especially if that marriage is far gone. My advice, and we can go around the room here. You cannot push red pill. You can't push red pill wisdom on people. The red pill only sinks into men who seek it out. Maybe you can drop them a link and characterize it. Listen, hey, this guy Donovan Sharpe, this guy Miss Andrew today, Anthony Johnson, pretty interesting video. Why don't you check it out? Or hey, you know what? I just bought this book. It's called The Rational Male. You know, I've heard it's pretty good. Maybe you want to check it out. If he hits you later and says, hey, you know what? These are some interesting thoughts. Do you want to talk about this? That's when you can hit him. You have to be very passive with it. You have to be very indirect with that. Steve, what are your thoughts on trying to help out married men? Because we get this all the time. We have friends who are married. We know clearly that their wives are out of pocket. They're fat. They're not treating them as good as girlfriends. What's your advice to men who want to advise other men who are married?
Well, first, before you advise a man about marriage, you got to be a man yourself. And that's one of the things a lot of people do. You give a lot of misinformation to a lot of guys out there. What I would say for you to do, Mark, is find some men like you have on this panel, or that's a part of this, part of the Red Man group, that are successful in the things that y'all are looking for, and then learn from those guys, because those guys can give you what it takes. And again, to me, I don't want you to look at marriage per se. I'd rather you look more towards the man inside of you and how you think, because all that stuff doesn't mean anything if there's not a man that cultivates, lights, and shines through. So kind of don't look at marriage, don't look at relationships, look at more of building you first, because a lot of y'all guys kind of put the cart before the buggy, or horse before the buggy, whatever the fuck that shit is. Y'all put shit before y'all should be putting shit down, basically. So all I just want to say is, look, learn how, find some men for these guys. But like Donovan said, we're not going to force this on you. You got to want it yourself. And once you come here, you'll find all the information you need, man.
Excellent. Anthony, what's your advice?
Yeah, so I'm pretty biased towards video production. We obviously have that with the Red Man group that he can send, you know, his buddy to. Also, I co-sign obviously with what you guys are saying here. Lead by example. But specifically to video, I think what really goes over well with 21 Studios content. So the Red Man group live we do in person, super high quality shit, as well as the speeches and stuff like that. High quality video production tends to bypass a lot of filters that people have, normies, so to speak, that would usually turn them off. So a lower quality video, you know, it's just a Google Hangout. There's no problem with it, but it's not this super high end production in a hotel or a conference center. When you can send, you know, so pick a favorite speech, I'd say, from 21 Convention or something like that, or a favorite Red Man group that we've done in person, like the Red Man group live. Send them something like that, and it's going to get by a lot of the mental filters they have for any kind of edgy, controversial, outside the norm content. Because that's what they see when they see this. As good as we do with our home studios and stuff, Donovan and myself in particular here, and Steve as well. Miss Andrew today, you know, DDJ just has his.
Oh, you don't like my home studio? Come on now, don't hate it.
I mean, I'm into the sniper thing, but it's a little basic. But seriously, so high quality video production, super high quality shit. It will help facilitate him actually consuming the content and listening to it, because they see that on level of like TV production or much closer to that. And that builds credibility and reputation because it's professional and they know it's expensive and it takes time. So I would actually say, you know, veer towards a 21 Convention speech and let that be a gateway to other content like this, like the Red Man group and everything else we do on a more day-to-day consistent basis. So pro level stuff.
Thought about that. Yeah, you're right. When they see guys on a stage, that lends a little bit more credibility than, you know, a bunch of knuckleheads, you know, yelling at a camera, right? DDJ, what are your thoughts? What's your advice to Marcus here about advising his married friends?
I think that those things are important, that what Steve said, what Anthony said. However, I think the most important thing is first and foremost, what people need to understand is that if you have a man who's in a marriage and that marriage is in jeopardy, or he's going through some trials in that marriage, he's a wounded animal. And so he is likely to attack you as he will to listen to you. Because again, he's wounded. When you're wounded, you don't know friend from foe, right? So the idea here is that you have to be a good friend. So number one, you have to be there, you have to be available, you have to be supportive. A lot of men who end up going through a lot of these things in divorce, what happens is that their friends don't understand what it is that they're going through, or they think that it's a little bit of drama, and then they back away from him. And now that guy is isolated and he has nobody. Now he's more likely to make bad decisions. He's more likely to consume drugs and alcohol more than he would have otherwise. He's more likely to get depressed and possibly commit suicide. So job one right there is to continue that support group that you have with that friend of yours, and to be a good friend, to be in his place, to make sure that you're investing time in that friendship. And again, not at the expense of yours, of course, but to have those things there. And then when the opportunities arise, then talk to people about the videos, talk to people about the other information that's there when those opportunities arise. And like Steve said, the most important thing is to be the example yourself. If you can't be the example yourself, you can't help these other men. And the advantage of this is this: when you're helping these other men go through these trials and you're helping them try, with this red pill knowledge, what that does is it confirms it for you. It confirms it for you, and you gain from that as well. So don't think it's a one-sided scenario, but don't push it on them either. They have to be willing to seek it in order to provide it. All you're doing by continuing to be their friend is you're available, you're in their personal space, you're in their face, doing whatever you do, whether you go hunting together, whether you go shooting together, whether you're watching the football game or playing video games, whatever it is you're doing, you need to maintain that friendship, because then when that opportunity arises and they do ask those questions or they do express those concerns, you are there to provide them that knowledge, that wisdom, and that friendship.
Wow, that was all very good advice.
And one last thing.
Yeah.
Don't be a John to a BPD hoe.
No, definitely do not do that. Well, you could and tell them, listen, are you looking for advice? See what I'm doing? Do exactly the opposite. Guys, this was fun. This was a great episode, very entertaining. You guys can find all of our channels. I'm going to put them all in the description here. Until next week, gentlemen, this has been the 70th edition of the Red Man Group. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.